Hi, it's Laurel here, and welcome to day 4. Today we're looking at why you keep repeating the same patterns. And before we go anywhere, I want you to hear the second line on this slide because it's the whole session. Nothing has gone wrong. You're running a script you didn't choose. People often call me a pattern spotter. It's probably the thing I get told most, that I can see the pattern running underneath what someone's describing before they can. But here's the honest bit. It took me years to turn that on myself. I could see everyone else's script perfectly. Mine was invisible to me because that's what your own patterns are. Invisible, running in the background for years, sometimes decades. So today isn't about what's happening to you. It's about what's running underneath and why it won't move. One reframe before we start, because everything today depends on it. The pattern isn't proof you're failing. It's information. If you keep ending up in similar relationships, that's information. If you keep hitting the same ceiling at work, information. If the same financial habit shows up year after year, information. It's not a lack of effort. It's not a character flaw. It's a script, and scripts can be read. So as we go through today, no judgment. We're not here to build a case against you. We're here to read the information. Quick recap. Yesterday we looked at AI and your tech stack, what stays uniquely human and how we subtract noise to make space. Today we take that space and we go underneath. Because the question isn't what's wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you. The question is what's running underneath and why won't it move? Most people believe life is unpredictable, that success and happiness happen randomly. But look closely at any real breakthrough, and you'll find the same thing at the start of it. Someone recognized a pattern. Patterns determine outcomes. Change the pattern, change the result. There are 3 levels to this, and they map exactly onto where we are in the week. Level 1, pattern recognition. Everything starts with awareness. Until a pattern is visible, it runs automatically. You can't change what you can't see. That's today. Level 2, pattern utilization. Once you can see it, you can use it. Athletes study their opponents' patterns. Businesses study customer patterns. In your life, it means asking, what behaviors consistently lead to my best outcomes? What habits repeatedly hold me back? When you start utilizing patterns instead of reacting to them, you shift from passive living to proactive design. Level 3, pattern creation. The highest level, you stop inheriting patterns and start designing them. Routines, systems, environments built to produce the results you want. That's tomorrow. That's the design phase. Your life today is largely the result of patterns you've followed, some consciously, many unconsciously. The encouraging news: patterns are not permanent. They can be changed, redesigned, and replaced. First pattern, you sense a purpose waiting, a direction calling, but something keeps getting in the way. The blockers are predictable: fear of failure, fear of success. Both are protection and both keep you from trying. Perfectionism, imposter syndrome, comparison, old identities that no longer fit, external expectations, and waiting for permission, which I want to say something about because no one is coming to give you permission. Not your parents, not your boss, not the world. The permission you need is your own, so what are you waiting for? Notice the need underneath almost all of these: certainty. The block is keeping you safe from the risk of finding out. The way past it. Name the block. Awareness is the power. Challenge the belief behind it. Take one small action anyway and build evidence you can handle it. And get support, a mentor, a coach. You don't have to do it alone because purpose isn't found, it's uncovered by removing what's in the way. Second pattern, and this one is the heart of everything I teach. We live in a world obsessed with reinvention. Quit your job, burn your life down, start over, become someone else. But most people don't need reinvention, they need recalibration. Remember how drift arrives slowly, not through dramatic decisions, but thousands of small unconscious ones. You stop listening to yourself, you override your needs, you stay busy instead of intentional, you keep performing instead of pausing, productive but disconnected, and one day you wake up exhausted, emotionally flat, quietly unfulfilled, wondering, how did I get here? The dangerous thing about drift is that your life can still look successful on the outside while feeling deeply misaligned on the inside. And most people think that feeling means burn it down. New career, new city, new relationship, new version of themselves. But reinvention is often exhaustion in disguise. Here's the pattern truth. If you change everything externally without addressing your internal patterns, you recreate the same patterns in a different environment. You move somewhere and still feel disconnected, start a different job, still burn out, build a successful business and still feel empty. You take yourself with you because the issue was never your entire life. It was your calibration, the pace, the pressure, the nervous system overload, the constant reacting. Recalibration asks a different question. What if I don't need to become someone else? What if I need to reconnect with who I already am underneath the noise? And it happens through small, consistent recalibrations. Better boundaries, more honesty, more rest, less numbing, daily walks, learning how to sit with yourself again. Those tiny shifts, repeated, change your emotional baseline, your clarity, and eventually your life. Your life is not shaped by one massive decision. It's shaped by your daily patterns. Your day creates your life. Third pattern, fighting your own feelings. I wish I could tell you that at some point overwhelm and confusion go away. They don't. Success doesn't remove these feelings. They're signs that you're human. The feelings aren't proof you're failing. But here's the pattern. We assume the feelings shouldn't be there. We resist them, judge them, try to fix them. We tell ourselves that once we've figured everything out, we'll finally feel calm. Once the business grows, once we launch the thing, once we feel ready. Every worthwhile thing I've ever done came with uncertainty. Every business, every career move, every recalibration. Fear showed up, doubt showed up, confusion showed up. Not because I was doing something wrong, because I was growing. The moment you start thinking, why am I feeling like this? I thought I was past this. I've done so much work on myself. You've stepped into quicksand. Now you're not only feeling the emotion, you're fighting it. And that's where people get stuck. Not in the feeling, in the resistance to the feeling. Feelings are energy. They're designed to move. Emotions don't need to be fixed. They need to be felt. So here's the interruption, and it takes 2 minutes. Pause 2 or 3 times a day and ask, what am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it in my body? What triggered it? And this is the needs question again. What do I need? Set a reminder, use a sticky note, stack it onto an existing habit. Don't judge what you find, just notice it and respond with compassion. Fourth pattern, the always on pattern. And this one isn't mindset, it's physiology. Your nervous system thrives on rhythm, stress, then recovery, focus, then rest, connection, then solitude. That alternation is how every living system functions. Without it, we break mentally. That's burnout, anxiety and fog, physically, fatigue and illness. Emotionally, irritability and disconnection. Chronic stress without recovery is wear and tear on the whole system. The science is clear, regulation is resilience. And notice what modern wellness has done with that. We've made health incredibly complicated. Cold plunges, red light therapy, glucose monitors, sleep trackers, 90-minute morning routines. The routine that was supposed to make you feel free is now another job. The tracker that was supposed to help you understand yourself now tells you whether you've had a good day before you've asked yourself the question. And underneath it all, a small voice asks, is this what well feels like? That's the optimization pattern. The target keeps moving. You hit 10,000 steps and discover it should be 12. And it's feeding a need too. Certainty mostly, control dressed up as health. The interruption is subtraction, an idea that's existed for thousands of years. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not add something, it's remove something. The basics never lost their power. Move your body, eat real food, most of the time sleep like sleep matters. Spend time with people you love, get outside, laugh, rest without guilt. None of it will go viral. All of it works, and it'll still be working after the latest protocol has been replaced by the next one. Quickly, 3 body level patterns, because patterns don't just live in your head, they live in your physiology. The stillness pattern, your body is designed to move, built for motion, not for chairs. For most of human history, movement wasn't optional, it was survival. When your body doesn't get resistance, load, stretch, it adapts downwards. Use it or lose it isn't a cliche, it's physiology. And we can scroll for hours but can't find one to exercise. The interruption, lower the bar, 20 to 30 minutes. Momentum matters more than duration. Stack it, walk while taking calls, train straight after work, move before you open any apps. And remember, movement is a privilege. There will come a time when it gets harder. Age, injury, health. The ability to move freely isn't guaranteed, it's a gift. Use it while you have it. The feel pattern. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's total energy, so what you eat directly shapes how clearly you think, how stable your energy is, how well you regulate your emotions. Refined sugar and ultra-processed foods spike and crash your blood sugar, and those crashes show up as fatigue, irritability, and cravings, which feed the next loop of the pattern. Whole foods, protein, healthy fats, fiber, steady fuel, steady mind. It's not about perfection or rigid diets. It's about giving your body what it needs to function. The shallow breath pattern. Breathing is automatic, and it's one of the only automatic functions you can consciously control, which makes it a direct lever on your nervous system. Stress breathing is shallow and fast and keeps you in fight or flight. Slow, controlled breathing, longer exhales, breathing into your belly, switches on rest and restore. Lower heart rate, fewer stress hormones, a signal to the brain that it's safe. A few minutes changes your state. Over time, these small choices compound. Next pattern, carrying too much noise to hear yourself. We live in a world that rewards noise. More information, more opinions, more notifications, more pressure to become more, do more, prove more. And somewhere inside all of that, people lose themselves. But joy was never supposed to be complicated. Real joy comes from clarity about who you are, what matters to you, what you value, what kind of life you actually want. And when you get clear, something powerful happens. You relax. The static disappears. You stop trying to force yourself into places, roles, and expectations that were never designed for you. You stop performing and masking and start becoming. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is step away from the noise. Sit somewhere quiet, breathe, walk, journal, look at the sky, because underneath the chaos you already know. And this is where confidence actually comes from. Not external validation, self-awareness. Understanding your own design, your patterns, your energy, your rhythms. Your secret sauce is studying yourself, not becoming somebody else. When you understand yourself deeply, decisions get easier, direction gets clearer, and you stop fighting yourself. Waiting for clarity. What am I doing with my life is a question. So big there's nothing to decide inside it. The pattern is staying stuck in the big foggy question because the loop survives on size. Tomorrow I'll show you exactly how to shrink a fog question down to something that fits on a post-it and gets done by Friday. Waiting to feel ready. This one sounds like a productivity problem. It's the emotional one. The things that feel like too much aren't heavy because they're difficult. They're heavy because of the meaning attached to them. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, sometimes fear of what it means if it works. So we wait until we feel ready. But readiness is a myth. It arrives because of the action. You don't feel capable and then begin. You begin and slowly start to feel capable. Name the need under all three: certainty. And notice you don't get certainty by waiting, you get it by moving. Waiting for a sign. People say they're waiting for a sign to leave the job, start the business, end the relationship. But most people are waiting for certainty, and signs rarely arrive that way. They arrive quietly through repetition. The same idea showing up again and again, a feeling that keeps returning. At first it feels like coincidence. Then it starts to feel like a pattern, and patterns matter. Your body usually knows before your mind does. Fear is loud, urgent, and chaotic. Intuition is quieter, a calm knowing. Uncomfortable maybe, but not frantic. How do I know if I'm happy? That's one of the bravest questions a person can ask, and everything this week has been building your answer to it. Okay, pause with me. You've just seen a lot of patterns. Maybe one of them landed, maybe three did. So here's the question I want you to sit with. What might become possible if those patterns changed? Not all of them, even one. If the pattern that's been quietly running for years, the overworking, the waiting, the fighting, the feeling, the burn it down urge, if that one script stopped running, what opens up? Here's your now action. One small interruption this week. One name, one pattern you keep repeating. Just one. The one that came up during that silence is probably it. 2. Name the need. It's quietly feeding. Go back to the 6. Is it certainty? Trying to keep you safe. Significance, connection. Be honest and be kind. Remember, the pattern isn't proof you're failing. It's information. It's been doing a job. 3. Take one step smaller than your resistance, not to fix the pattern, to interrupt it. If the pattern is overworking, the interruption might be finishing at 6 once. If it's fighting the feeling, it's 1 2-minute check-in tomorrow. Smaller than your resistance, that's the design principle. If the step feels hard, shrink it. Because you don't break a pattern by understanding it, you break it by moving. I mean that seriously, and it's the opposite of what most personal development tells you. You can analyze a pattern for a decade and it will keep running because insight doesn't interrupt a script. Action does. One small move this week and the pattern is no longer automatic. That's the crack everything else comes through. Tomorrow, we design everything this week has been building to it. Day 1, you saw the drift. Day 2, you understood yourself. Yesterday, you made space. Today, you found what's running underneath. Tomorrow, we take all of that and start designing on purpose. And here's what you don't need to bring. You don't need to know what's next. You don't need to feel ready. Readiness is a myth, remember. You don't need to have found your purpose. You need to decide from exactly where you are. One thing before you go. If you haven't already taken the balance reset, do it before tomorrow. It takes a few minutes and it will show you exactly where you are across the 4 pillars, which is precisely the starting point. The design phase needs, it's at balance.ai/reset, and I'll see you in the room tomorrow.